We often hear the term gaslighting floating around, sometimes used loosely, sometimes with a heavy weight. And when we picture someone falling victim to this insidious form of manipulation, we might mistakenly imagine someone who is inherently vulnerable or easily swayed. But what if I told you that some of the sharpest, most intelligent minds among us are paradoxically often prime targets for gaslighting? It's a challenging thought, I know, but understanding why can be incredibly empowering. Today, we're going to explore the complex dance of manipulation and trust that allows gaslighting to take root, especially in intelligent individuals. We'll strip away the jargon and look at the actual psychological mechanisms at play, not to blame anyone, but to shed light on how this subtle form of abuse operates, and, crucially, how we can better recognize it, both in ourselves and in the world around us. At its heart, gaslighting is a deliberate and systematic effort to feed false information to a victim. It's a calculated campaign designed to make someone doubt their own sanity, their perceptions, and ultimately their very sense of reality. Imagine someone slowly but surely dimming the lights in a room, and then insisting that the room has always been this dark, or that you're just imagining things. This constant barrage of denial and distortion creates chaos and confusion, all with one ultimate chilling goal: to gain control and power over another person. This manipulation is particularly potent within trusting and close relationships. Think about it. When someone you love, respect, or depend on begins to systematically undermine your confidence in your own reality, you're naturally more inclined to believe them, or at least seriously question yourself. It's a slow erosion of self-worth and self-confidence, often happening so gradually that the victim doesn't realize the extent of the damage until they're already deep in the fog of confusion. It's like a quiet whisper that turns into a persistent doubt, then an echo, until you can no longer distinguish your own voice from the noise. Now, here's where the paradox truly comes into focus. Many of the traits we associate with intelligence can surprisingly make someone more susceptible to gaslighting. It's not a weakness, but rather a particular way of engaging with the world that can be exploited. Consider, for instance, openness and curiosity. Highly intelligent people tend to be curious, open to new ideas, and often eager to understand different perspectives. This is a wonderful trait for learning and growth, but a manipulator can exploit it. They might lure an intelligent individual with interesting ideologies or complex belief systems, gradually introducing distortions under the guise of intellectual discourse. This provides a smokescreen, allowing them to slowly gain control by twisting the victim's open-mindedness into a vulnerability, making them more receptive to seemingly complex, yet ultimately false narratives. Then there's the self-questioning nature inherent in many intelligent individuals. If you're a critical thinker, you probably have a natural tendency to re-examine your own thoughts and feelings. You want to be fair, to see all sides, to ensure you're not making assumptions. While this is a hallmark of intellectual rigor, a confident and assertive gaslighter can easily exploit this inherent self-doubt. They might say, "Are you sure that's how it happened? Maybe you're overthinking it," or "Your memory isn't always the best, you know?" This plays directly into an intelligent person's inclination to self-correct, turning their introspective strength into a weapon against them. Elaborating on cognitive biases with simple examples.
Gaslighters are often masters at exploiting cognitive biases, which are essentially mental shortcuts our brains take to process information. They leverage confirmation bias by repeatedly presenting distorted situations that reinforce a victim's existing doubts. If you already have a tiny seed of self-doubt about your memory, a gaslighter will water that seed with denials and false accounts, making their false narrative seem more convincing because it aligns with a pre-existing, however small, insecurity. They also manipulate memory bias and the misinformation effect. They'll deny past events entirely or subtly alter details, leading you to question your own recollections. "I never said that," or "That's not what happened, you're misremembering," are classic lines that, over time, can make you profoundly distrust your own mind. And it's not just about the victim's traits. The gaslighter themselves can be a significant factor. Perpetrators with high emotional intelligence can skillfully sense and exploit a victim's insecurities. They can twist the truth in a way that appears logical and believable, tailoring their manipulation to precisely target what they perceive as your deepest fears or self-doubts. They understand human nature, and they use that understanding to meticulously dismantle someone else's reality,
often making the victim feel as though they are the one who is confused or irrational. Recent research, notably from institutions like McGill University and the University of Toronto, is shedding new light on gaslighting, reframing it not just as simple manipulation, but as a complex learning process rooted in how our brains handle prediction and surprise. This model suggests that anyone can fall victim if they trust the wrong person, because our brains are constantly trying to make sense of the world. When a trusted source consistently provides information that contradicts our own senses or memories, our brains try to reconcile this discrepancy, often by adjusting our internal reality to match the trusted external one. It's a testament to our inherent need for coherence, but it can be devastating when that coherence is a lie. The prolonged anxiety and stress caused by gaslighting aren't just emotionally painful, they can have significant neurological impacts. Constant stress hormones can lead to measurable changes in the brain, including the shrinking of the prefrontal cortex. This area of the brain is crucial for functions like memory, decision-making, and emotional regulation. So the longer someone is subjected to gaslighting, the more difficult it can become for them to trust their memories, make clear decisions, or even regulate their own emotions, creating a vicious cycle that further traps them. Now, it's important to acknowledge something crucial. The term gaslighting has become incredibly prevalent in public discourse, and while it's good that awareness is growing, a significant concern, voiced by experts like Dr. Robin Stern, is its overuse and dilution. When we use gaslighting to describe a simple disagreement, or someone just being insistent on their point, we dilute its precise meaning as a severe, systematic form of psychological abuse. This isn't just a semantic quibble. It makes it harder to identify genuine instances of gaslighting and understand its truly grave impact on victims. It's like calling every headache a migraine. It minimizes the suffering of those who truly experience a migraine. We need to reserve the term for its actual, clinical weight. Given its subtle and insidious nature, gaslighting is incredibly difficult for victims to identify and prove, even for intelligent people. This is precisely why understanding the mechanisms we've discussed today is so vital. It's not about finding fault, but about equipping ourselves with the knowledge to see the patterns of manipulation. When someone consistently denies your reality, questions your memory, dismisses your feelings, or attempts to make you doubt your own sanity, these are red flags. It's about learning to trust that inner voice, that gut feeling, even when someone is actively trying to silence it.
The evolving scientific understanding of gaslighting, particularly as a cognitive learning process, suggests a future where prevention and intervention strategies could become even more targeted. This shift helps us move beyond simply identifying manipulation towards understanding the deep psychological and neurological impacts, which in turn can lead to more effective support systems. It also emphasizes the importance of fostering self-reliance and emotional awareness. Ultimately, understanding why gaslighting works, even on smart, capable individuals, is not about judgment. It's about empathy, awareness, and empowerment. It reminds us that intelligence is a powerful tool, but like any tool, it can be misused or exploited. By understanding the specific ways our minds can be manipulated, we strengthen our ability to protect our own sense of reality, to trust our perceptions, and to ultimately reclaim our truth. So let's continue to shine a light on these complex dynamics, not to create fear, but to foster resilience and ensure that genuine victims receive the recognition and support they desperately need.